the primary purpose of trauma shears is for cutting clothes off, right? So somebody gets shot or somebody gets injured in some way or another, and you need to cut their clothes off in order to address the problem that's going on. And it's actually faster in many cases to cut their clothing off than it is to have to pull the clothing off. I have hundreds and hundreds of trauma shears. This particular batch of trauma shears stays in this cup, right? And then this cup stays in my kitchen, and I use these trauma shears for everything. I use them to open packages. Every time, like, I buy some frozen food from the grocery store, I need to open the bag up. I cut it open using the trauma shears. It's very rare that a day goes by that I don't use trauma shears for something, right? They're way more practical than just for emergency situations where you have to cut clothing. Like, you don't just have to cut clothing with them, right? Now, one thing I will say, there's trauma shears that I'm not a big fan of, like these. These are the cheap nothing trauma shears. You know, I would avoid them. I already own some of them, so I have them. But in general, I would avoid them, especially if you're doing anything serious with them. If you have to have these definitely, you should keep them in the kitchen or something. Keep them in a drawer in your kitchen for opening random crap like that. More serious brands, I like the EDC Gear brand. You know what I mean? I like those. You know, I don't know what brand this is, but whenever you see the square there, that's actually the it's meant to fit the peg, the bolt on the oxygen tank, so you can turn the oxygen tank using that little square thing. So if you see one with a little square on it, that's good. I like the ones with the carabiner feature. It's somewhat of a useful feature that I'm not going to say I use it all the time, but if you need to quickly kind of get rid of it without losing it to focus on another task, you can quickly clip it to another part of your gear, and so that way it's kind of hanging there, and so you haven't lost it. One of my favorite brands of trauma shears is Madison Supply. Now, this particular Madison Supply shear right here has an interesting story. I cut a wire using this, right? And when I cut the wire using this, I didn't know electricity was running through it. Long story short, the person I was with told me there was no electricity running through the wire, but there was. So when I cut this wire, like, part of the metal of the shear kind of melted, because the whole wire kind of exploded and made a very loud pop sound. And I honestly thought I was going to die. Like, that was a very scary moment. I really thought I was going to die. It was like a little explosion. And this is what it did to the shear. It was actually worse than this because it wouldn't close. But I took a rat file and kind of filed the melted part off. And it still works like a charm. So this thing survived what I could only describe as an electrical explosion. That's pretty neat. I mean, it was loud. It sounded like a gunshot went off. There was a lot of current running through this wire, and I cut the wire using this thing, and it was terrible. I thought I was going to die. And because of this handle right here, like, I was insulated. Like, I didn't feel that much electricity running through it. I mean, I got shocked a little bit, but I barely felt it really. So these things, arguably, did they save my life? You could argue they did. These things are stupid proof because I cut a live wire with this with electrical current running through it, and because the handle, I guess, was insulated properly, I guess I didn't die. There's a lot of current running through that wire. And these are scissors, you know. At the end of the day, that's really what trauma shears are, is they're scissors. And like I said, I keep them everywhere. My mom keeps them everywhere. And it's just something that my mom does that kind of has brushed off on me as an adult. As a matter of fact, it's brushed off on me more. I actually have more trauma shears than my mom does, which is pretty funny. But yeah, I love these things. So pick up some Madison Supply. You know, they don't sponsor me. It'd be cool if they did, but they don't. But this is the brand that I personally recommend. And there's a lot of stuff that's like off brands that's good. But as far as like something that actually has a brand name that I could tell you to go to, it's going to be Madison Supply. All right, I hope you like this video. Like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Really leave a comment. Absolutely. Check out the prepping playlist, all that. Support this channel. It's a small channel. Please support the channel. Jordan Jared signing off.